Greetings, dear listeners. Hope you're all doing well. Well, here as promised is the strawberry moon of June 5th, 2020. Might not be able to see it much right now, but hopefully as this video progresses, you'll get a clearer look at it. Now, like a lot of supposedly mature people, I spend a certain amount of time reflecting on my misspent youth. All the years when I drove around in cars, listening to hits on the AM radio, smoking cigarettes, and yelling things out the window at pedestrians, particularly girls. Holy Pagoli! Did you see her? The other thing we used to do with cars is mooning. If you don't know what mooning is, that's when you stick your bare ass out the car window to startle any pedestrians or passers-by. Now, I live in Canada, so it's not a stunt you want to pull during the winter months like February, unless you want to show the audience a blue moon. And, of course, you're always in danger of freezing your balls to the metal door frame, so not a good idea. Equally obnoxious but slightly safer activity was to go with a bunch of friends to the movies and wait till the quietest or most romantic part of the movie, and then proceed to make some really rude comments in loud voices and make farting noises and things like that. I had a friend that could do Donald Duck talk, and he would give you a complete critique of the film as Donald Duck, usually during the quiet romantic scenes. And now, when I was about 15, I thought this was hilariously funny. A real scream. Today, I'd probably think it was a scream too, but not quite the same way. And then we discovered alcohol, which meant that we got incoherently and sloppy drunk every chance we got. Because let's face it, if you're not going to pass out, blackout, or vomit, what's the point of drinking? Hey, I just drank a 26 or a 5-star rye. It didn't do anything to me. I don't feel anything. Oh dear. Oh dear. The good old days. Those were the days, my friend. We were rebels, but rebels without a clue. Well, on the particular night this incident happened, I had failed to connect with my friends, so I had to go look for them. Okay. Hysterical note for all of you 35 and under. This is 1972. There is no such thing as cell phones. They weren't even thought of. Now, mind you, in 1972, we all knew that by the year 2000, we'd be driving around in flying cars. Still waiting for mine for some strange reason. But if you had told us that in the future, people would walk around with their phones, and that some people would spend 25 hours a day looking at those phones and even sleeping with those phones, we would have laughed ourselves into hysterics. No, people are stupid, but there's no people on the face of the earth that are that stupid. Oh dear, oh dear. Hindsight is 2020. Anyways, on this particular night, I had to go look for my friends, and I thought I would begin my search at the numero uno party spot in town, which was the old silo, which was the remains of an old barn out in an abandoned field just off the train tracks and well outside the prying eyes of any adults. And the quickest way to get there was to walk the train tracks. So I did. Alone. In the dark. Not that I was worried about it. I wasn't worried about trains, and I'd done this many times before. But this night, things just seemed a bit off. So let me see if I could set the scene for you a little bit. It was one of those murky, overcast nights where the low sky cast kind of a chocolate-colored murk over everything. And it was damp, and there was mist rising from the ditches along the sides of the train tracks. And everything was wet and kind of hazy and indistinct. And it was southern Ontario, so even though it was winter, it was probably 2-3 Celsius. That's 35 Fahrenheit for you non-Celsius people. And on the left-hand side, there was the back of a bunch of small factories and junkyards. And on the right-hand side, we had tall grass and trees. And as I walked along, I just got this sense that I wasn't alone. And I couldn't see anything or hear anything, but I just got this sense of movement off to the right. And I didn't know what it could be. I mean, who's going to follow a punk kid like me around? And okay, there were hobos and bums around, but they tended to avoid people. And animals, yeah, there were, raccoons and skunks out there. And it's kind of unpleasant to encounter a skunk at close range, but they weren't dangerous. So, but as I say, I just felt nervous is too strong a word, but a little apprehensive, a little uncertain. And just then, these lines from an M.R. James story pops into my head. It was something to the effect that he walks on and dares not turn his head, 'cause he doth know a fearsome fiend behind him tread. Well, I didn't want to look around to see if there were any fearsome fiends, so I picked up my pace. I got my cigarettes out, my Cool Filter Kings, and lit one to kind of get my spirits up, and picked up my pace, and pretty soon I was passing through an area where there were farmers' fields on both sides of the track, and it was more open and there was more light, and I relaxed a little bit. Well, eventually I got to the fourth line, where I got off the train tracks, walked up about 100 yards towards the Queen Elizabeth, and got onto the dirt trail leading to the silo. Now, this was a wide dirt trail. It had a couple of ruts in it, so you could actually drive cars down to the silo. Like, there goes one of the cars driving to the silo now. It's about 2,000 miles that way. So I was walking down the trail, and all of a sudden, I heard a branch or a twig snap off to my right. And I turned and looked, and now this is really hard to explain what I saw. What I saw was kind of a gray mass, about, 7-8 feet tall. It was gray, and it was kind of humanoid in shape, and it seemed to have pointy ears, and I thought I saw a flash of red like eyes, but the whole thing was shimmering, if that makes any sense. So I couldn't focus on it, but I could see it was coming towards me, and it wasn't walking, it wasn't running, it was actually rolling across the tall grass towards me, incredibly quickly. And I was suddenly overwhelmed with complete terror, and I just turned and I started to run for my life, run for my soul. And any second I expected to get a clawed hand on my shoulder or grab me by the hair or the hat or the coat. And just then I was impaled by the headlights of a car, and I heard a familiar voice. No, he didn't cough. What he said was, "Hey, asshole, get in the car. We've been looking for you everywhere." I don't remember what happened the rest of the night. I didn't tell my buddies what had happened. They obviously hadn't seen anything. And I never told anybody till now. So what was it? Was it a werewolf? Was it a dog man? Was it an earthbound spirit? Was it some kind of alien being? Let me know in the comments what you think. And stay safe, stay subscribed, ring that bell so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. I'm going to try to upload as often as the weather permits, which means when the goddamn wind stops howling all the time. If this is your first visit to my channel, my name is Warren. I write and record original ghost stories and original horror stories of cryptids such as the Night Floaters, Werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. And of course, let's all make like werewolves and stay hungry. I'm now going to ask the lovely and talented camera crew to give us a panorama shot of tonight's full moon. And as she keeps saying to me, this is the honeymoon. This is the honeymoon. And I say to her, every day is the honeymoon. Okay, everybody. So on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Aww. Now I'm going to get out of the way before I get myself into trouble. But till midnight, cheers.